Hi, this is Chris from Code Review Videos, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at Doctrine collections, specifically the array collection implementation of Doctrine's collection interface. So as you can see, there's some documentation at the top which goes on about how this is like the missing standard PHP library collection or array or ordered map interface. And that kind of makes sense depending on which language you've come from before. So if you come from like JavaScript or Python, you're probably used to having these functions available to you, or this sort of construct available to you. If all you've ever really known is PHP, then this may be kind of new to you, and also it's one of the things that you probably don't realize how useful it is until you've seen it in action. But it's one of the things that like you don't know that it's available, so how on earth are you ever going to know that you could use it at that specific point? So there's tons of stuff available on this interface, and if you've used collections in any way, shape or form before and using Symfony, that's pretty likely. Then you'll have seen that there's quite a lot of things you can do with a collection, and some of it's more frequent or more common than other things. So like adding to a collection, or checking if the array collection contains something, checking if the collection's empty, probably removing an element. Remove actually is a little bit trickier. It's not tricky as such, but the outcome is probably not what you expect the first time. I'm going to cover all this, checking if it contains certain things, getting it back as an array itself, and other things. And then as we come down, there's some more sort of I guess complicated or tricky sounding things like filtering, maps, partitions, and these take like a closure which as it says applies the given predicate P to all elements. And the first time I looked at that, I was like, what the hell does that mean? And I think that's more of like the computer science textbook kind of approach. So yeah, I'm going to explain what each of those are. And the good thing is, once you've seen them in use, it's actually really straightforward to use them. And once you get past the sort of computer science aspect of it, they become very, very useful. So with that said, let's jump into actually using some of these, or in fact all of these, throughout this video series. The first thing to cover is the data set that we're working with, and if you've watched the Queries Tweaks video series, which I'll link to in the show notes before, then you'll have seen this data set. It's a topics and forums type setup, so we've got 80 topics and we got some replies, like thousands of replies, and it's using Will Duran's Faker bundle just to generate some duff data, really, some quick and easy data. But this is essentially the data set. We've got 80 different topics in there. So what we're doing, basic Doctrine query, we're doing the find all returns an array, and then we're just dumping that out and also rendering off. So the first thing we actually need to do is create a collection. We're going to say new array collection, and with a bit of luck, PHP Storm should give us the autocomplete, and then we actually need to populate that with our array. So we're popping in the result of the query that we've done, and now we've got an array collection that we can work with. So if we then dump out that and refresh, we should be able to see at the bottom here that instead we have an array collection. Like previously we would have just had an array. Effectively it's just a wrapper around it, and that's pretty much the main thing to remember, really. Collection. So the first thing that we can do is just add something to that collection, and strangely we can add literally anything. It doesn't need to be a topic, so we can just add like hello, and then if we just refresh that and see what we get, so array has now got 81 elements in it, and with a bit of luck we'll be able to see that the bottom one is hello. So that's kind of strange in that you would expect it only to be able to accept other types, other topics, so like a new topic. But if we want that functionality, then we have to be more explicit about that. If for some reason we wanted to clear off the entire collection, we could do that. We can just say clear. If we make sure that we use the right syntax, we can just say clear and then refresh that, and now there are no elements in the collection. However, it is worth pointing out that that has only cleared the collection, not the underlying data from the database. So that operation is not going to clear off the information from your database unless you then loop over the items in that collection first, and then call remove on each of the items, and then at the end flush that change to the database. We can do a collection get, so we can actually just get one indexed item from the collection. So we could say, for example, get the item with index of 3 or the key of 3, and then if we pop that into something, so we'll say item, and then like that, if we can just save that off, dump that off, save it, refresh, refresh that, and then we can see at the bottom here that we just get that individual item, so it's 0 indexed, and that's why we're getting number 4. Obviously the ID starts at 1 2 3 4, but in the collection, so in the array, it's going to start at 0 1 2 3, so item 3 is going to have ID 4, but that's what we're doing there. So we're getting that individual item based on its index, and then what we could also do is say we could dump this off to say bool equals collection contains item, so it should contain that because we've just pulled it out, so that we expect this to be true, and then if we refresh this we should see a true. But if we change this off here to say just whatever and then refresh, we should now get a false.